Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bobby Hesley Show, November 27th, 2020 edition. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. I hope you all had a very blessed Thanksgiving. And I hope you are able to wake up from your turkey coma that maybe you put yourself in yesterday. I definitely had a great time, had a really good time with some close friends that I am blessed to have met. My good friend Robin Barnes, Dr. Linda Lee Tarver, Wayne Bradley, Christina Caramo. You know who you are. We had a great time yesterday. So I'm going to get right into this, guys. What is the deal? What is going on with President Donald Trump and with Sidney Powell? Just exactly what are they up to? There's been lots of criticism that's been coming out over the last couple days regarding the lawsuit that Sidney on the prowl Powell has come up with. For example, one of the main criticisms of the lawsuit, and this is actually, believe it or not, guys, and this is why I need to do this show, okay? This is actually starting to worry Republicans. This is why I want you guys to stay off the fake freaking news, okay? Stay off the fake news, guys. If you want to keep in touch with what's going on, if you want to stay up to date, keep coming back to your man, Bobby Hesley, okay? Don't go to Fox News. Don't go to CNN. Don't go to MSNBC. Stay off Twitter, okay? Because all you're going to see are a bunch of shallow critiques of this massive lawsuit that Sidney Powell has dropped. For example, one of the critiques of the lawsuit is that it's riddled with typos. They're critiquing the fact that she misspelled Eastern District Court for the 75-page lawsuit that she hit the state of Michigan with, for example. There's other critiques that it's just filled with all kinds of other errors, that there's certain words and sentences that are scrunched together, that were not spaced out, okay? And guys, this should actually make you feel very optimistic. It should not worry you. It should actually give you the opposite effect. It should actually make you feel pretty excited and pretty optimistic. And the reason why is because as somebody who is used to having people come at him and nitpick him and critique him, because I tick a lot of people off, guys. I say lots of things that trigger lots of people that people don't like. And if you want to see an example of how people react to that, just go on my wall, guys. Look at some of the comment section that are in my videos, and you will see all the trolling comments of people critiquing little things, nitpicking little things here and there that have nothing at all whatsoever to do with the topic at hand. But if that's all they got, that means I'm winning the argument, okay? So if all they can come up with, if all these media sources can come up with are little critiques about typos here and there, about words that don't have spaces in between them, then that means they've got to be very afraid and very intimidated, because I have not seen any critiques from the media regarding the actual merit of this lawsuit, because nobody wants to go anywhere near that. Nobody wants to touch that. As a matter of fact, it would be a death knell to the media, to the leftist media, to the state-controlled leftist media, for them to actually talk about the substance of this lawsuit. Why? Because they would have to uncensor themselves to do that. They're all about censoring, right? They're all about suppressing the truth. They're all about making sure that we don't get to the heart and to the meat of what things are going on. So they keep us distracted with all these little buzzing gnats about typos and things like that. But I haven't seen any substantial media reports that actually go into the details of what this lawsuit is about, because I think that they are afraid to actually mention the accusations. And remember, guys, these are not just accusations. These have sworn affidavits that carry a 5-year prison penalty if the affidavits are fraudulent. These people are willing to swear in an affidavit under criminal penalty of perjury that everything that they are saying that's included in this lawsuit is true. You guys have to keep that in mind. These are not just conspiracy theory accusations. These are eyewitnesses' account of people that are willing to go to prison for 5 years in order to testify. That means that they've got to be telling the truth. But I think the media is afraid to touch the substance of what's in this 104-page Georgia lawsuit and also the 75-page Michigan lawsuit. I think they are ashamed, and I think it's very strategic that they're only criticizing the things like the typos in the lawsuit, okay? And it's no big deal, guys. The fact that there's typos in the lawsuit, it's no big deal, okay? The reason why I'm not worried about typos, and the reason why it doesn't make me lose faith or confidence in Sidney Powell, is because you guys have to realize she has been working hard on this thing for only 3 weeks. I'm actually amazed and impressed and blown away with everything that she has put together in the short amount of time that it took her to do it. Because it's like she said in an interview last week, she is doing the job. She is single-handedly doing the job of something that the FBI should be doing, something that the CIA should be doing, something that the NSA should be doing, the National Security Agency, because this is an issue of national security, because we have legit verified foreign interference in our elections from China, from Iran, by a software that was created down in Venezuela to help people like Hugo Chavez and Maduro get elected. Okay? So you talk about foreign interference. See, the Democrats didn't have any proof of their foreign interference. They didn't have people signing sworn affidavits about Vladimir Putin stealing the election from Hillary Clinton. And the media ran with that narrative for 3.5 years. And all you wear is the proof liberals, all you wear is the proof Democrats, and all you wear is the proof Rhino, Republican, never Trumpers. You guys were not demanding any kind of proof of all the outlandish claims that the Democrats and the media made for the last 3.5 years regarding Russia. And they even impeached President Trump over the fake Russia hoax with no proof. They impeached a sitting U.S. president with no proof. Unlike when Bill Clinton was impeached, we actually had proof that he did with those cigars what he said he did to a young intern, that he sexually abused an intern in the Oval Office while president of the United States. And not only was Clinton impeached, but he lost his law license. That's a pretty serious charge to have your law license stripped from you. That's like a doctor losing his license to do surgeries on people. He puts himself through school, $350,000 in college debt to get his PhD, goes to med school for 12 years, and then he loses his license to practice medicine. That's what happened to Bill Clinton when he got impeached. Why? Because we had actual proof and evidence for his impeachment. There was no proof for Trump's fake Russian hoax impeachment. But the fact is, this lawsuit is filled with bombs and landmines that I believe are going to set the Democrats back for decades if this thing makes it all the way up to the Supreme Court and if we win this thing. And this is why all the media can talk about, all the critics can talk about are little typos. I kind of liken it to Giuliani's hair dye running down his face. You guys remember the Giuliani press conference? And the hair dye was running down his face. That's all the media was talking about. It broke the internet. The fact that the poor guy, probably put a little bit too much hair dye in his hair, okay? And he was sweating and he was hot and he was obviously, under these hot camera lights, and he had a bunch of hair dye running down his face. And I noticed it. I'm not going to lie. When I watched that press conference, I noticed it. I'm like, wow, what is that running down his face? At first, I thought it was like the camera of the angle. I thought it was like maybe a shadow or something. But then I realized, you know what? No, that's hair dye. That's something running down his face. That was all the media talked about. Why? Why were they so fixated on Rudy Giuliani's hair dye running down his face? Because they wouldn't dare address the things of substance that he was saying about all the fraud and about all the voter theft that happened in this election. They didn't dare talk about the fact that Will Smith's dead father, God rest his soul, voted twice in Philadelphia for Joe Biden. They didn't dare bring that up. They didn't dare talk about the fact that there were election workers, election integrity workers, that were instructing people to backdate ballots that came in on November 4th to backdate them to November 2nd. They didn't dare talk about that. They didn't dare talk about the fact that credentialed Republican challengers with the Michigan GOP like myself were not allowed into the TCF Center, formerly known as Cobo Hall in Detroit, to monitor and make sure that these elections and that these counts were being run fair and square, which I documented. I got a 36-minute documentary right on my wall of video footage of the guy blocking the elevator, not even letting us go down. I rolled that footage for you guys yesterday. You guys saw that. They didn't dare talk about that. Why? Because all they could focus on was his hair dye. Right? It's a distraction game, guys. What about the fly that landed on Mike Pence's head for a few seconds during the vice presidential debate with Kamala Harris? That was all that broke the internet. That's all they could talk about was the fly that landed on Vice President Pence's head. Why? Because they wouldn't dare address all the substance that he was hitting Kamala Harris with. The fact that he destroyed her in that vice presidential debate. They didn't dare want to give any airtime to any of his talking points because it would be damning to their side. So before I get into this, guys, thanks everybody for joining me. We got hundreds of people that are watching live right now. It's good to see everybody. Before I get into this, please hit the like button, hit the love button. Let's see some activity. Let's see some comments. I want you guys to participate on the comments. I am not only streaming live on my Facebook, but I am also streaming live on my YouTube. And I've got a little reward for you if you go to my YouTube channel to subscribe, which I will talk about in a second. So guys, please like and share this video and please comment. It really helps me with the algorithms. I really appreciate it. And be sure to also subscribe to all of my social media channels, which I make really easy for you to do in the comment description section of this video. So I'm not going to spend too much time because I know it's Friday. I'm going to try to be off this thing in a relatively short period of time. Got some good comments flowing in. It's good to see everybody here today. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. So I believe that Joe Biden warned all of us months and months ago. Joe Biden, out of his own mouth, warned us. He prepared us for what we are going through right now. And I'm actually going to roll some footage of that just to prove to you guys that I'm not some wacky, crazy conspiracy theorist. Give me 1 second, guys.
Secondly, we're in a
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share the audio so that you guys can hear it along with me. Okay. So, mouth of Joe Biden. This is not some Republican saying this. This is not some conspiracy theorist saying this. This is candidate, ex-Vice President Joe Biden himself saying this.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
So did you guys catch that? Out of Joe Biden's own mouth, he said that we put together the most extensive voter fraud in American history. Now, some people would say, you know, when Joe Biden said that, by the way, guys, were you able to hear that? Was there sound? Please let me know in the comments. Still getting up to speed on the this platform that I'm using here. So was there sound, guys? Were you able to hear all that? Let me know in the comments, please. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Diona LeRae. So the fact is, Joe Biden said that he put together the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in history. Now, many people would say, oh, Bobby, that was a gaffe. Of course, people are going to run to his defense. And they're going to defend the senile, washed up old racist and say, oh, that was just a gaffe. That's just Joe Biden. You know, he likes to gaffe. He likes to talk, you know, he likes to talk out of, you know, off the top of his head. He didn't really mean to say that. What else could he have meant, guys? For those of you who are willing to deny what you just heard, what else could Joe Biden be talking about? What else could he have possibly meant when he said that we have put together the most inclusive and extensive voter fraud organization in history? What else is that supposed to mean? Tell me, please. I believe that Joe Biden told the truth on accident. That's what I truly believe. I believe that Joe Biden meant every single word that he said. And I believe that when something is so much on your mind, when it's something that you're fixated on, I believe that sooner or later you're going to let it slip. You're going to let it slip, guys. It says in Matthew chapter 12, verse 34, that it's from the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. Whatever it is that's in your heart, whatever it is that you think about, that you dwell on, that you focus on, that's what's going to come out of your mouth. That's what you're going to talk about. So I believe that Joe Biden told the truth on accident. And if you want proof, if you guys want to see another example of Joe Biden telling the truth on accident, I want you to see how he really feels about black people. I want you to see how Joe Biden truly feels about poor black kids. Okay? I'm going to roll another clip for you guys. And just listen to how Joe truly feels about black kids. Check this out, guys. Hold on. Get my screen here, ready to go. Let me get it on full screen for you guys, just so you can hear what old Grandpa Joe has to say about poor black kids. Listen to this, guys. Okay, you guys can see my screen. And here we go. Give me 1 second, guys. Bear with your man, Bobby Hesley. We got 1,200 people watching right now. I thank everybody for coming on. So listen to what Joe Biden truly feels about poor black kids. Remember what Jesus said, that it's from the abundance of the heart. It's from what's in your heart that comes out of your mouth. It's from the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. Matthew 12, verse 34. So listen, let's hear what's in Joe Biden's heart, shall we? Let's hear what's in Joe Biden's heart about poor black kids. This was during his campaign.
Everything about. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. And I tell you what, the men, they're now all men, the guys I work with down here, and they're all guys at the
Did you guys catch that? Did you guys catch that? So Joe Biden, out of his own mouth, said that he let kids jump up on his legs and he had hairy legs. That was pretty weird and creepy, that he let kids rub his hairy legs. That's pretty creepy, bro. But did you notice how he said that when he hung out with all these kids that he learned about roaches? Why would you make a connection between hanging out with poor black kids and roaches? Come on now. Because that's how Joe Biden views black people. That's how he views poor black kids. He believes that poor black kids who grew up in the ghetto like me, who grew up in Brightmoor, Detroit on Schoolcraft and Evergreen, he believes that poor black kids, that pretty much the only thing that they have to offer you, the only knowledge that they can impart to you is about roaches. That's a pretty condescending view towards black people. And to all my black viewers who are watching this is who you voted for. I love you, fam. I love you, black people. But this is the man that you voted for, who believes that the only thing that poor black kids can teach him while they're rubbing his hairy legs, you heard the audio for yourself. I'm not making this up. That the only thing that they can teach you, that they can teach him while they're rubbing his hairy legs, is about roaches. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. We all know what Joe Biden thinks of us. That's how he views us, guys. This guy is a Jim Crow segregationist who teamed up with Strom Thurmond. You guys know who Strom Thurmond is? He's a buddy of Joe Biden. They made legislation together that locked up so many black men when it came to nonviolent drug offenses. This is the man who eulogized Senator Robert Byrd, who was a KKK grandmaster. So I believe that he told the truth on accident. I believe that that's what was in his heart, and he meant to say that. And maybe he just let it slip. So this gets to the next point, okay? Because over 3 months ago, the Democrats were giving us warning signs. They were telling us what they were doing. They were dropping little clues and hints about what they were doing. And I find it interesting that President Trump is getting all this criticism. Okay, he's getting all this critique for not conceding. He's refusing to concede. And you got all these people in the media that are telling him, oh, you need to concede, you need to concede, you need to concede. And this was a clip that, that's going kind of viral right now. And I have so much respect for President Trump. I've got mad respect for Donald Trump for the way he stands up to the media. So this is what happened yesterday in an interview. I'm going to share my screen again so that you guys can see this recent clip of Donald Trump being harassed by reporters that are pressuring and that are bullying him to concede. They're bullying him into conceding. And I want you guys to see the way that they're treating President Trump. But I got mad respect for the guy because look at how he stands up to them. He stands up to the media like no president I've ever seen. So I'm going to roll the clip. Here we go.
If the Electoral College votes for Joe Biden on December 14th, will you concede the election?
It's going to be a very hard thing to concede because we know there was massive fraud. So as to whether or not I can get this apparatus moving this quickly, because time isn't on our side. Everything else is on our side. Facts are on our side. This was a massive.
I apologize. Give it a second.
Massive fraud. This should never take place in this country. We're like a third world country. We have machines that nobody knows what the hell they're looking at. I think it's a possibility. They're trying to look between you people. Don't talk to me that way. You're just a lightweight. Don't talk to me that way. I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way. All right, I'm going to go with another question.
I love it. I love it when the president stands up to the media like that. Isn't that awesome, guys? So, of course, you got some punk. You got this punk in the media who's pressuring Donald Trump to concede. And, they want the guy to concede. And it's very important to these people that Donald Trump concede because that's the only way that they can get away with this, guys. I truly believe that we have so much evidence on these people. We have so much fraud that is coming out that's already been filed in Georgia and Michigan. And keep in mind, folks, there's more lawsuits to come. We're not just working on Georgia and Michigan, guys. We have damning evidence in Wisconsin. We have damning evidence in Pennsylvania. We have damning evidence in Arizona. Okay, this thing is far from over, guys. This thing is just getting started. But it's extremely important to the left and to the media that Donald Trump concedes. Now, it's not going to happen, obviously, and you see how desperately this reporter was trying to get him to concede. And he kept badgering him and saying, are you going to concede? Are you going to concede to the point where Donald Trump says, look, pal, don't talk to me like that. I'm the president of the United States. You don't talk to me like that. I love it when Trump goes alpha and just stands up for himself. Because, guys, you got to realize when Donald Trump stands up for himself, he's not only standing up for himself, he is standing up for each and every one of us. And he is even standing up for Democrats. He's even standing up for his opponents. Because whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent or Green Party or whatever your party is, you want to be able to vote in fair elections. We have to have a fair electorate, guys, or we don't have a country. You guys do realize that this is all or nothing, guys. We either win it all or lose it all. There is no in between with the outcome of this election, guys. There is no outcome. There is no in between outcome with this election. If we lose this thing, they're trying to get Georgia. If they win this Georgia runoff election, do you guys realize they are going to have complete control over Congress? They're going to have the Senate, the House, and the White House with Biden in there. And they have already said that they plan on voting to add 3 states to the union. They're going to convert Guam, Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C. into actual states that are going to give them electoral votes. And if that happens, guys, I'm just trying to prepare you. This is what we're up against, guys. I'm not trying to spook you. I'm not trying to get you paranoid. I'm not trying to wreck your sleep tonight. But if that happens, if these Democrats, for the first 2 years before the 2022 midterms, when they have all the power and the control and they can get through whatever they want to get through, like they pushed Obamacare through, like they pushed stimulus through back in 2008 when Obama won. If they add these 3 states to the union, guys, Republicans will never win an election ever again. The Democrats will have permanent control over the government, guys. They will. They will run the country indefinitely for the foreseeable future, because those 3 states are always going to vote Democrat, and that could happen, guys. That's what we're up against. This is why it's so important that we hold the line, that we do not concede, guys. Do not concede. You don't have to worry about President Trump conceding. He ain't going to concede. But all my viewers, all my Bobby Hesley friends, fans, and followers, I don't want you to concede emotionally. I don't want you to concede intellectually. I don't want you to get discouraged and give up and think that this thing is over. It ain't over, guys. It is far from over. The freaking thing still hasn't even been certified yet. We're still more than 2 weeks out from this whole thing being certified, guys. There is no clear winner of this election. Joe Biden is not the president-elect. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what anybody says. Joe Biden is not president-elect until he is certified as president-elect on December 14th, period. So do not concede in your mind and in your heart. Hold the line. Man up and stick behind President Trump. Stick behind America. Don't give up. Don't crawl under your covers in the fetal position, sucking your thumbs with your tail tucked between your legs. Do not do that, folks. Even if nobody else is looking, don't give up in your heart. Do not concede in your heart. Do not buckle to the pressure of the left and the media that want to dispirit you, that want to discourage you, and that want you to give up. So why is it not okay for Donald Trump to hang in there? Why are they trying to force Donald Trump to concede? And he's such an evil tyrant that he's not conceding, that he's not just laying down and rolling over and letting this election being stolen from him and us with all this obvious and apparent fraud that they're too sloppy and too desperate to even cover up. This fraud that's found in these lawsuits, guys, is low-hanging fruit. Do you realize how easy that they're making it? They're making this thing so easy for us to find this fraud. Now, before I get into the hypocrisy of these Democrats wanting Donald Trump to concede, I want everybody to hit the like button, hit the love button, comment on this video. Please share this video with everybody. Just put it up on your wall and let's get some more viewers on this thing. Please subscribe to all my social media channels. And I'm going to get into an infographic that's going to break down this lawsuit, because this lawsuit is very vast and it's very complicated because the voter fraud was so vast. And I've got an infographic that I'm going to share with you guys, but you can only get access to the infographic if you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And go to this video that's on my YouTube channel, and in the description, I'm going to have a link to this infographic. It's my little gift to you for subscribing, because it really helps me out. But let me get into the double standard of the media, because they are breathing down Trump's neck. They're trying to do everything they can to get him to concede. There's other Republicans that are buckling. You got George W. Bush, the hypocrite, who fought this thing for 37 days back in the year 2000 over one county in Florida, Broward County, telling Trump to concede, telling Trump that it's over. Well, why didn't he concede back in 2000 when Gore was doing recounts, huh? Why did he get his brother Jeb involved, Jeb Bush, who was the current governor of Florida back in the year 2000, to kick it up to the Supreme Court to demand that the recount be stopped 2 days before the certification on December 12th, which, by the way, was the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe. On the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe, the only vision, the only apparition of the Blessed Mother where she was pregnant with the child Jesus when she appeared to St. Juan Diego, that was the day back in the year 2000 that one of the most pro-abortion presidents we would have ever had, Al Gore, was defeated in the 2000 elections. But yet George Bush was fighting that thing. He got his brother Jeb to get involved. You guys remember the chants back in the year 2000? All the protesters that were standing outside of the Florida Supreme Court that were saying, "Oh no, Gore's ahead. Better call my brother Jeb. Oh no, Gore's ahead. Better call my brother Jeb." Bush got his brother Jeb involved, who was the Florida governor. He got the Florida Supreme Court involved to fight the recounts. So he didn't concede 20 years ago, and he dragged this thing out for 37 days. So why all of a sudden is he wanting Donald Trump to concede now, huh? Why isn't he wanting Donald Trump to hang in there? We're nowhere near 37 days in this thing. We're only, what, 21 days a little over 3 weeks into this. So Bush is still 2 weeks more into this thing 20 years ago than Trump is. But let me show you the hypocrisy of the left, because months ago, Hillary Clinton was making the rounds and she was telling Joe Biden, and Barack Obama was also saying the same thing, but I don't have time to play that. I'm only going to get into what Hillary said, to where she was telling Joe Biden publicly in an interview to not concede under any circumstances. I'm going to roll the clip because you guys have to see this for yourself to believe it, okay? I don't want you to think I'm making this stuff up, because I'm not. You got to see it to believe it. So let me roll the clip, and then we'll start to wrap up when I get into this infographic. So here's the clip. Let me enlarge it so you guys can see it. Let me mute my mic so you don't hear any feedback. And I want you to listen to Hillary Clinton giving advice publicly to Joe Biden about not conceding. And remember, guys, this was over 3 months ago, guys. Over 3 months ago. And I'm going to do some commentary on this after I play it. So here we go.
Look, it's going to be a close election. As I said in my speech, you can win 3 million more votes and still, not get elected because it's.
Bear with me, guys. Things are going to get better. Don't worry. It'll keep playing. Just give it a second. The spinning wheel of death is going. Here we go.
The Electoral College, it all comes down to the Electoral College.
If it's a close election, like say Biden, say Biden wins, what do you think Trump will do?
Look, I think that they have a couple of scenarios that they're looking toward. One is messing up absentee balloting.
Right, of course.
They believe that helps them. So that they then get maybe a narrow advantage in the Electoral College on election day. Because remember, we've seen a couple of cases, like in Wisconsin, where they did everything they could to mess up voting. But because courts had ordered absentee ballots to be counted if they were postmarked on election day, Democrats actually won some important races there. In the recent Michigan primary, I was told in Detroit, the Republicans had 40 lawyers challenging absentee mail-in voting. And a local reporter talking to one of the lawyers he knew was told it was a dry run for November. So we've got to have a massive legal operation. I know the Biden campaign is working on that. We have to have poll workers, and I urge people who are able to be a poll worker. We have to have our own teams of people to counter the force of intimidation that the Republicans and Trump are going to put outside polling places. This is a big organizational challenge, but at least we know more about what they're going to do. And, Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances, because I think this is going to drag out. And eventually, I do believe he will win if we don't give an inch, and if we are as focused and relentless as the other side is.
Did you guys hear that hot garbage? So listen, let me provide some commentary context to what you guys just heard, okay? That was over 3 months ago. Do you guys know what was going on 3 months ago? This was back towards the end of August. I had just gotten back from Thailand from being a stranded COVID refugee over in the Orient for 8 months. 3 months ago is quite a long time, guys. Do you realize that back 3 months ago, Joe Biden was hiding in his basement, wearing a stupid mask, doing gaffe after gaffe after gaffe, had just done the virtual DNC convention, or it was right around the time when the Democrat National Convention happened for 2020, which everybody did from their basement. And Trump at the same time was doing rally after rally after rally, guys. This guy was packing out rallies, 30,000 people showing up here, 40,000 showing up there, 55,000 people showing up there. He had rallies where over 80,000 people showed up. For anybody who's on this stream right now, we got over 1,500 people watching right now. Wow, we got almost 1,600 people watching live right now. For anybody who went to a Trump rally, hit the number 1. Put a number 1 in the comments, guys. If you went to a Trump rally anytime during the 2020 campaign. For those of us, because I went to 2 of them, who went to Trump rallies, guys, there were lines of cars that stretched out for miles. People who knew that they couldn't get into the rally, yet they were still honking. They still had their Trump signs on their car. They still showed up and showed out to show support for our president with their intent to reelect him. There were people who came, who drove 2 and 3 and 4 hours, who knew that they were not going to be able to get into the rally. And yet they sat in their car in a line that stretched 2 or 3 miles just so that they can see Air Force One fly in. Just so that they can stand outside in the cold and squint to hear, to listen to Trump on the loudspeakers. They couldn't see anything. They could barely hear what he was saying on the loudspeakers from the outside. That's what Trump was doing during all this time. Joe Biden was hiding in his basement. Meanwhile, in Biden land, the guy's hiding in his basement, wearing a stupid mask, saying racist gaffe after racist gaffe that I've lost track of now because the guy said so many of them. And when he finally did have the courage to venture out of his basement, the guy could barely get more than 5 people into a parking lot. He couldn't get anybody to show up at his rallies. And there is footage of Joe Biden. I don't have time to show it now, but there is footage of Joe Biden doing a fake wave. He's getting off of an airplane. And whoever this cameraman is, this propaganda cameraman is, he needs to take some propaganda, photography classes, because whoever this rookie was panned the camera around when Joe Biden was waving. And there was nobody that was in the airport parking lot when he got off the plane. He was literally waving to nobody. But he stepped off the plane and he's like, hey. And the guy panned the camera while he was doing that. And there was nobody in sight. It was a fake wave. So you mean to tell me that during all this time, 3 months ago, when Hillary was telling Joe Biden, don't concede, it's going to be a close election, she was so confident that it was going to be a close election, even though Trump was blowing Biden away with his campaign, with all the tens of thousands of people that were coming to his rallies. If you add up all the rallies that Trump did in 2020, the guy was doing 5 to 7 rallies a day for a whole 2 months before the election closed out. Guys, I just turned 40. I don't think I could keep up with that. You got a 74-year-old man that was doing 5 to 7 rallies a day, every day, almost 6 or 7 days a week, for a couple hours each, for 30 to 60 days straight, while still doing his presidential stuff. I'm sure he's taking care of deals while he's on Air Force One. He's negotiating with, he's putting the UAE deal together with Israel and the United Arab Emirates, which, by the way, there's more Arab nations that are signing on to that now. He's putting China in check. He's still doing all his leader of the free world, president of the United States stuff in between rally stops where he shows up and talks for an hour or two in the cold. That's what Trump was doing during this don't concede speech that Hillary gave. So what gave her the confidence? This is my question. What gave Hillary Clinton the confidence to get on an interview on a show called The Recount? Did you guys catch the name of that YouTube channel that I played? It's called The Recount. That's literally the name of that channel. I guess it's a channel that's dedicated to, analyzing and doing recounts. What gave her the confidence that this was going to be a close election, knowing how Trump was blowing Biden away in these rallies, knowing how horribly Joe Biden was underperforming every Democrat presidential candidate or Republican candidate who ever ran before Joe Biden? Guys, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ran the worst presidential campaign in United States history, guys. I'm convinced of that. They broke John McCain's record. They broke Mitt Romney's record as far as running horrible campaigns. But she was confident that it was going to be close because she knew about this voter fraud scheme. I just played the clip for you guys earlier in the broadcast of Joe Biden bragging about his massive voter fraud organization that he put together. That's what gave her the confidence to say that it's going to be close, but she had to put some public pressure on Joe Biden not to concede. Because if Joe Biden would have conceded on election night, it would have ruined everything. It would have ruined their entire scam. So Joe Biden is the one that should concede, and yet you don't hear anybody pressuring Joe Biden to concede. You don't hear anybody pressuring Joe Biden to even allow some audits, to even allow some of these certifications to be paused, to even allow any recounts. Nobody would dare tell Joe Biden in the media, hey, Joe, why don't we pause the certification in these states until we can figure out the irregularities? Why don't you welcome some voter investigations? If you're so confident that you won, if you're so confident that you beat Donald Trump fair and square, you should be welcoming investigations so you can put this behind you. Do you want a shroud of doubt and illegitimacy to be cast over your presidency for the next 4 to 8 years, the way it was over Bush when everybody said that he stole the election, the way it was cast over Donald Trump's presidency about the whole Russia hoax and ended up getting him impeached? So that's a fact, guys. They knew that they were doing this fraud. And that's why they didn't want Joe Biden concede. It all makes sense now. Are you guys noticing how much it makes sense now? So to wrap up the broadcast, I want everybody to hit the like button, comment on this video, share it. What I'm getting ready to show you now, you can have yourself if you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. You need to go to my YouTube channel, which I make it very easy to do. Hit subscribe and make sure that you also hit the notification bell when you subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you're going to get real-time alerts every time I upload a video, okay? So please make sure you do that. So let me share my screen and I'll wrap it up and I'll let you guys get on with your Friday here. Share screen 1. Okay. So this is a great infographic that was put together by a gentleman named Doug Ross. And if you want to see this, you can download the PDF version of it if you go to, like I said, my YouTube channel. I don't have time to get into this whole thing, but this is a 9-page PDF that details every aspect of these lawsuits. Guys, these lawsuits are so vast and complicated because the voter fraud was very vast. This is not just, a few stolen votes here, a few stolen votes there. I mean, this is hundreds of thousands, millions of votes that were stolen from President Trump. And there's basically 3 main ways that this election was stolen for Donald Trump if you look at this infographic. Let me kind of enlarge my screen a little bit here so you guys can see it. Just give me a second. And I don't know, this website is shorting out on me. Give me a second, guys. Hit the back button. Okay. Okay, so this is a summary of the 2020 election rigging claims. Okay. So let's scroll down a little bit. So overview of vote fraud allegations. If you look at this, there's 3 main ways that this election was stolen from Donald Trump and from us and from America. Number 1, illegal procedures. Okay, there's no chain of custody for machines and large bundles of ballots. Poll watchers removed and threatened, like myself. We were not allowed to enter into the TCF Center, which I played for you yesterday. Unprecedented voting pauses, like on election night, when before our very eyes, for the first time in history, all the counting just stopped. Right? We just smashed into a brick wall while going 500 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. We woke up with whiplash. The counts were stopped so fast. The second way it was stolen was insecure voting machines. Design permits operators to easily move votes between candidates to flip votes away from Trump and to Biden. Audit logs incomplete and insecure, linked to foreign governments like China and Iran. The third way it was stolen was with illegal ballots. There was no signature verification with a lot of these mail-in ballots. There was no barcoding or ballot verification. Statistically implausible dumps of votes late in the counting process, and they all went 95% for Biden, guys. Okay, so this goes into each of these claims, the illegal procedures, the broken chain of custody for voting machines, bundles of ballots. I'll just read this quick quote. But again, if you guys want to see the full PDF here, you have to go to my YouTube channel. You have to subscribe. You have to go to this video that's streaming live. And if you click on the link in the description section, it'll be all yours. So please subscribe to my channel. But when it comes to illegal procedures, it says we typically receive the machines, the ballot marking devices on the Friday before the election, with a chain of custody letter to be signed on Sunday. So he basically details the process. I don't have time to read it all. The second way is he goes further into the illegal procedures. Democrat majority counties illegally prevented Republican poll watchers like myself, like your man Bobby Hesley, from monitoring vote counting activities. Okay. Large batches of pristine, identical ballots, 98% in favor of Joe Biden. Again, these are ballots that arrived after 8 p.m. on November 3rd, which are illegal and unconstitutional ballots. That is a fact. Insecure voting machines. 96,000 mail-in ballots were illegally counted as they were not cast by legal voters. And again, if you just go to this page, it goes into detail. And this is going to help you guys make sense of this vast lawsuit that Sidney Powell has put together. It's also going to help you make sense of what Rudy Giuliani and Lynn Wood are working on under the direction of the Trump campaign. So that's my homework assignment for the weekend, guys. Make sure you go through this 9-page PDF when you get some time. It shouldn't take you more than 20, 25 minutes. You guys can always rely on me to filter through all the crap and do all the research for you so that you don't have to watch the fake news. But I want you guys to also meet me halfway as well. Okay, I want you guys, I don't want to do all the work for you. I don't want to do all the heavy lifting for you. I want you to do some of it yourself, because if you can read and study this for yourself, you're going to own your education. You're going to own your knowledge, okay? And I want you guys to own your knowledge, okay? I want you to own the process of informing yourself, because it's going to make you a better American. It's going to make you a better patriot. It's going to make you a better citizen, okay? So when you get some time, go to my channel, subscribe, get this link, and download this PDF for yourself, okay? That's my gift to you. So I am going to wrap up, guys. Let me stop sharing the screen here. Looking forward, I might do, some walk and talks this weekend if I get some time. I might do a broadcast. But I will close things out by saying that we are up against the clock, guys, but I am very optimistic. I'm extremely optimistic because, remember, it's very important that Sidney Powell did what she did on Wednesday. We are off to the races, guys. The fact that these lawsuits have been officially filed officially puts us off to the races. Now they are working their way up to the courts. Some of these lawsuits are going to get dismissed, but don't let that disparage you, because that's what we want to happen. If these lawsuits are ruled against by these leftist judges that Obama appointed, you guys got to realize in the lower circuit courts, most of the lower circuit courts lean left. Most of the lower circuit courts are filled with judges, with leftist judges that were appointed by Barack Obama. Okay, that's just a fact. The federal judiciary in the lower courts are mostly Democrat run. So you have to expect some lawsuits to be ruled against. You got to expect some dismissals. You got to expect some losses there. But that's what we want, guys. Because like I said in a few videos ago, the Supreme Court is an appellate court. It's the highest appeals court in the land. So once you lose a case, you're able to appeal that case. And the higher courts are going to rule on whether or not the lower courts properly heard the case, whether they had merit to dismiss the case. And if they deem that they didn't, then they go up to the higher courts. So don't forget, we've got Amy Coney Barrett waiting for us. She's overseeing the things in Wisconsin. We have Brett Kavanaugh overseeing my state of Michigan. We have Justice Sam Alito overseeing Pennsylvania, which is a very important state. And we have Justice Clarence Thomas overseeing Georgia. Okay, now Elena Kagan is also overseeing Arizona, but we don't need to win Arizona to win this thing, so I'm not worried about that. So the Supreme Court has lots of options for how they can deal with this. They can either kick it back to Congress under the auspices of the 12th Amendment, which is another homework assignment I gave you guys. Make sure you study the 12th Amendment and get familiar with it. Long story short, the 12th Amendment provides for when a presidential contest has not been decided, Congress will then vote on who the president is. And each state that's represented in Congress will cast one vote. And whatever the party majority is of that state, that's the party vote. So if it's a Republican-controlled state legislature, like in Michigan, for example, like in Pennsylvania, like in Texas, okay, when that state votes, it's going to be a Republican vote. If it's a Democrat-controlled majority, that's going to be a Democrat vote, okay? Guys, there are between 30 to 31 Republican states. So we're going to beat them. We're going to win if it goes to the 12th Amendment. They also have other options. Another ruling that the Supreme Court will make, and I will do some videos on this next week to get you guys filled in on that, is they could say, listen, all these illegal ballots, all these ballots that were received after 8 p.m., that were not received by the constitutional legal deadline that this nation of laws has in place, are to be thrown out. So if all these irregular mail-in ballots are not going to be counted, there's ballots, guys, that literally the only person it voted for was Joe Biden. There was no straight ticket Democrat. It didn't vote for any other candidates. It only voted for Joe Biden. So for all you where's the proof deniers that are saying, how is it that we can lose seats in Congress and yet, Biden win? Well, that's because there were hundreds of thousands of ballots that literally only had Biden checked off. And these are ballots that came in the dead of night while we were all sleeping, after they stopped the counting before our very eyes during the presidential election evening on November 3rd. So the Supreme Court can also rule that all those ballots be thrown out. And if that happens, guys, our landslide is confirmed. We are going to win by a landslide. Well, not we are gonna. We already won by a landslide, but it is going to be confirmed by the highest appellate court in the land that was the case. So all this talk of overturning the election, we're not trying to overturn anything, guys. It's Biden and the Democrats that overturn the election, because we know what we saw on November 3rd. We knew that it was a landslide blowout, and then all the counting stopped, and now we're dealing with the mess we're dealing with now. So we are returning the election to its rightful winner. We ain't overturning nothing, okay? So there's lots of options that we can win, and you should be very optimistic, but I want you guys to hold the line. Do not concede. Do not give up. Do not cry uncle. Do not submit. Do not buckle to the pressure that the media is trying to put you under. Even in your mind and in your heart, do not give up, guys. This thing ain't over till it's over, okay? It ain't over till it's over. So hang in there, guys. I love you. Please subscribe to all my social media channels. Please like and share this video. Please comment on the video. Whether you agree or disagree, you can hit the angry face emoji. You can hit the laugh emoji. You can disagree with me in the comments. That's fine, guys. But just engage in this conversation. Share it with people. I hope you guys have a wonderfully blessed weekend. This is your man, Bobby Hesley, signing off, and I will see you on the next broadcast. God bless.